Today we're talking about cultivating self-worth in everyday life. Small shifts that can literally change everything. Welcome back to your Emotional Support Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Noelle Rizzio. I am so happy you're here. Truly, we are back for season 3. Season 3 feels a little bit different. It feels softer, deeper, more intentional. This season, we're talking about finding hidden beauty in your current reality, embracing unexpected life paths, and building daily habits that quietly strengthen your inner world. And today, we are starting with something foundational: self-worth. Not the loud Instagram quote version, the everyday version. You know, if you have been a listener, you know that I am the number one self-worth crusader. So let's start with what self-worth actually is. Here is something I've learned over 20 years as a counselor. Most women think self-worth is a feeling. They think, when I'm confident enough, I'll have self-worth. When I accomplish more, then I'll feel worthy. When I fix myself, then I'll finally feel enough. But self-worth isn't a feeling, it's a practice, okay? It is the quiet belief that you matter even on your most average, messy, human days. The way we build that belief isn't through dramatic reinvention. It's through small daily choices. And I am so excited to bring this to you. So let's start talking about the small daily practices that can literally change everything. The first one is keep one tiny promise to yourself. It doesn't have to be huge, right? The bigger it is, the less likely you are to actually do it. If you say, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, that seems so big. And I know if you're anything like me, it will not happen. And then you'll feel disappointed in yourself. So we're going to start small. Not a huge life change, not a huge overhaul, just one tiny promise. Whatever you want. You can drink water before coffee. You can go to bed 20 minutes earlier. You can take a 5-minute walk. Put your phone down during dinner. Whatever tiny promise you want to accomplish. When you keep promises to yourself, your brain registers something very important. It registers that I can trust myself. And trust is what starts to build that self-worth, okay? When we keep those promises and we make those goals, that's when we start to trust ourselves again. The second one is to upgrade one sentence. Pay attention to your internal narration. Sorry, that was really hard to say for some reason. It's that Nicole, it's that inner critic that I'm always talking about, but she'll creep in and she'll say, I'm so bad at this. I always mess up. I look awful. Now, we're not going toxic, full toxic positivity here. We're just upgrading a little bit. So instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, try, I'm still learning this. Instead of saying, I always mess things up, you could try to say, that really didn't go how I wanted it to, but I can adjust, I can learn. Okay? Language, your inner language shapes your identity. Your identity helps shape your self-worth. Okay? The third small change you can make is to stop over-explaining your existence. This is a big one. I know so many women who do this, and it makes my heart ache for them. Okay? I want you to start noticing how often you over-apologize, over-explain yourself, or shrink in situations where you don't need to. You might say things like, sorry, this is probably dumb, but, or you might say things like, sorry to bother you, or sorry, I know you're busy. What if instead you tried, here's what I'm thinking, or do you have a minute, or I'd like to add something. You are allowed to take up space. 100%. And every time you act like you belong, your nervous system starts believing it. It's like that fake it till you make it, right? Just pretend like you belong in every space. And soon your brain and the rest of your body will start believing that that is the truth. Because it is. It is the truth. All right. The last small change that you can make is to do one thing that future you will thank you for. Self-worth grows when you treat yourself like someone worth caring for. So care for tomorrow's you. Prep tomorrow's lunch today. Send the email that you've been putting off. Schedule that appointment that you have been, the Post-it note has been sitting on your desk for 3 weeks. Clean one surface around you that is driving you crazy because it's a mess. Do something small for your tomorrow self. It sounds simple, it sounds small, but small acts of self-respect compound. They build. And you notice, hey, I am worth this. All right, now let's talk about the days when self-worth feels fragile. The comparison days. The I should be further along days. The insecure days. We all have them. I want to give you a few resets that I love. The evidence list. I tell my clients this all the time. When your brain says, I'm failing, or something else equally negative, ask, where's the evidence? What is the evidence that that is true? Or what's the evidence against it? Then I want you to list 3 things you handled this week, 2 things you survived, and 1 thing that you did well. Facts calm distorted thinking. I'm telling you, this works. It works with my clients. Facts calm distorted thinking. Especially anxiety, because anxiety is the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of not knowing what is to come. And so when you arm yourself with data and facts, then there's not so much unknown, right? And so it calms you. That's the best advice I can give you. Another way to reset is take a borrowed perspective. Ask, what would someone who loves me say about me right now? And I do this one with my clients too. What would someone who cares and loves me say about me right now? Because that inner critic, that Nicole, is loud, but rarely objective, right? And I don't know if you've read my blogs or listened to any of my other podcast episodes, but the inner critic comes from protection. She's there as a way to protect you, okay? But she has had a lot of external influences that have made her very negative, and so she is not objective. But if we borrow compassion from someone else, then we can use that until we generate it on our own, okay? Again, it's that fake it till you make it, kind of, with a little twist. We're not faking it, we're borrowing it from someone else. So what would my mom think about me right now? She wouldn't think that I've failed. She would think that I'm trying. Or what would my sister think? Or what would my best friend think? Okay? Just borrow that compassion until you start to build it bigger in your own self. Another one is the 10-minute state shift. Okay, this one's real simple, but it works. Change rooms, step outside, take a shower, play one song, and move your body, okay? You are not required to stay in the same emotional state all day. Sometimes self-worth is as simple as interrupting the spiral. Your body moving and changing atmospheres will help your mind do the same thing. So, here is the truth that I want you to carry with you into season 3. Self-worth isn't loud. It isn't glamorous. It's built in keeping small promises, speaking more gently to yourself, protecting your energy, taking up space, showing up imperfectly over and over and over. You don't build self-worth by becoming someone else. You build it by consistently choosing yourself. And that is what we're doing this season. Small choices, real life, quiet strength. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need a reminder that they matter. And as we jump into season 3, I want you to ask yourself, what is one small way I can choose myself this week? Not dramatically, not perfectly, just consistently. I am so glad you're here because we are just getting started. I will see you next week.